Have you ever set a big goal only to be completely overwhelmed with where to start? I've been there too, but I discovered one simple hack to take that one big goal, drive forward, and keep going. So in this video, I'm going to share with you a little bit about that, what it looks like, how I actually execute it, so that you can start breaking down some of these big goals and achieve your dreams for yourself. Hey everybody, Shanice Upshur. If you don't know me already, founder of Cornerstone Coaching and Consulting, the corporate escapee, and so glad to be here with you on this wonderful, beautiful Friday morning. I had to look outside because we did have separated the forecast earlier. So before we get started, I want to talk to you a little bit about one of my favorite times where I use this hack. So I currently live in Tennessee, and there was a time where I actually lived in the city. Had a beautiful house, loved it, but we ended up having so many people come in the area that the street got so busy. We ended up having to put street signs and street lights even on both sides. Couldn't walk my dog out just because there were so many people on the street, and so we decided to move. And I remember going to an open house, going into the house next door that I didn't even know was for sale at the time, falling in love with it, putting an offer down, and they said, hey, if you want to have this house, you have to have your house on the market in 10 days. And I had decluttered my current house, but that was it. Still had painting to do, still had yard work to do, still had to get, pictures done, so many things that go into selling your house. And I just remember when they told me that, just feeling so overwhelmed and saying, there's no way I'm going to let my dream house slip through my hands. What can I do in order to make sure that this house that I have now gets on the market in 10 days? Oh, and by the way, I couldn't take time off from work because we were in the end of our quarter, and I was going into finals week for my master's program, right? So many things going on, and I'm sure some of you guys have gone through these situations when you feel like there's 90 million things happening at once. And literally I told everybody, I was like, 2023, like that's the year where it's everything everywhere all at once. And it just was crazy. And so I finally had to sit down and figure out, how am I going to take this ginormous goal of getting my house on the market, ready to sell in 10 days and not allow it to freak me out. So going to tell you guys a little bit about that. And what that looks like. And the first thing that I want to have you guys think about is when it comes to goals, and you may have heard me talk about this before, but I really want to deep dive into this today. Instead of looking at these ginormous goals, what can you do to break it down into micro goals? So don't look at that big, overwhelming picture. Oh my goodness, I only have, 10 days to get the house on the market. You have to think, what are the small actionable steps that I can take every day? So it'll keep you from feeling overwhelmed. It gives you some quick wins to build that momentum. So whether that's in selling a house, whether that's in escaping the corporate world, whether that's in growing your business, looking for those moments where you can have those quick wins by breaking down these giant goals into something a little bit more tangible, a little bit more edible, for a lack of a better phrase, is going to work wonders. So for me, in that instance, instead of saying, oh my goodness, here's all these things I have to do, it's okay, let me find a painter. Let me get the painter locked in. When can they come? Let me find a landscaper. When can the landscaper come? And really took a time to, break these things down into smaller chunks. So when you think about it, right, doing something like that helps you from feeling overwhelmed. Because if I just looked at the giant picture, very, very daunting. And even in business, right, if you're looking at it and saying, oh my goodness, I have to make, 20 YouTube videos. You guys have heard me talk about my goal to get to 20 YouTube videos. Instead of thinking about that, for me, it's been, can I do 2 to 3 every week? 3's the stretch goal, 2's, the goal, right? Like the bare minimum that I'm going to do. And when I look at it that way, instead of saying, oh my goodness, I have to come up with 20 ideas and 20, talk tracks and, 20 thumbnails and 20 descriptions, right? Can be a little bit daunting. But if I take a breath and allow myself to think, okay, just knock out 2 a week, it becomes a little bit more palpable. My heart, stops beating as crazy, and then I can get out there and get it done. So what does that look like, right? So I talked about, why we do it, why it's important, but how do you actually go about that? So there's this 4-step process that I use when I come up against these really big goals that I'm trying to break down and maybe make a little bit more realistic for myself. And the first one, my favorite thing to do, is visualize your end goal. You guys have probably heard me talk about how much I enjoy, reading a lot of Stephen Covey's literature, and he talks about starting with the end in mind. So start with getting a crystal clear idea of what you want the end goal to look like. Do you want to have, do you want to focus on the number of customers? Do you want to focus on your touches and outreach? Do you want to focus on, you going out and speaking so many times? Or like me, do you want to focus on this house that sold and you now have the opportunity to move into your dream house where you can walk your dog safely? And with that, write it down. So get a piece of paper, write it down, stick it in OneNote. There was a time I even wrote it down, took a picture of it, and made it the background on my phone. So it was there in front of my face every single day. Share it with people that are close to you. So go ahead and write down the end goal of those goals that you're trying to drive towards, and make sure that it's, you articulate it really, really clearly for yourself. And then once you do that, break it down. What are all of the steps that go into that goal? So this may be, back in the day, my mom used to have us do these mind mapping activities whenever we were writing. So we'd write down kind of our big main idea, and then we would draw all these spokes from it and write, little miniature ideas from it and keep going. So maybe it's something like that where you're saying, okay, my goal is to interact with 50 people this month. All right, so what are the things that maybe I'm reaching out to people on LinkedIn. Maybe I'm going to a networking event. Maybe I am, joining a Facebook group, right? Whatever that looks like. And then you kind of go from there to start thinking about all the different steps that can go into your goal. So you may have to do some things to get there, right? There may be some evaluating of your skills you have to do. There may be some researching business ideas, right? Whatever that looks like, go ahead, take some time to brainstorm, pen and paper. There's so many online tools out there. I'm a big fan of whiteboard, or as my sister and my son would say, I love just, I actually keep it like a dry erase marker with me. And when I get a good idea, I'll just run up to a mirror or something and just start jotting down ideas. But whatever that looks like for you, go ahead and start breaking down those goals and those big ideas that you have. And once you've done that, set those micro goals. What are they going to be? Turn those things that you've written down, those goals that you've written down, and say, okay, what can I do on a daily or weekly basis? So there's going to be some, once you have your list, there's going to be some that you look at and okay, these are things I'm going to do every single day, right? I can go ahead and reach out to 2 people on LinkedIn each day. There may be some that happen on a weekly basis, right? I'm going to go to, I'm going to find a local networking meeting to be a part of once a week. And there may be some even that happen on a monthly or a less frequently basis, but go ahead and give yourself time stamps, timelines to be associated with each of those actions that you put. And that's how it becomes a goal, right? I'm going to butcher the saying, and I'm so sorry. There's something along the lines that says every goal without a date is just a dream. That might not be correct, but you get the point, right? You need to put some dates. You need to put some timelines. You need to put some actions on when these items are going to happen. Not, I'm going to get to them sometime, or this is what I want to do, but every single Tuesday, I'm going to do this. Every single Friday, I'm going to do these things, right? So go ahead, add dates. And that is what puts it from that action that you jotted down on a piece of paper to a goal that you're going to drive towards. And then, you may have moments throughout this process where things get tough, things get a little janky. But my biggest and number 4 thing that I want to leave you guys with is focus on daily wins, right? So every day as you're driving towards these big goals, you'll have these moments of wins. And it doesn't necessarily mean that something crazy or amazing happened. It just means that there was a goal that you went after and you did it. So, hey, I went ahead and did my, outreach today. I went ahead and created, an amazing LinkedIn article today. I did some additional work on my website. Whatever that looks like, make sure you take the time to celebrate those wins, acknowledge all of the work that you're doing. And it is really one of those things where those small pieces of progress do add up day after day after day. So don't allow these moments to go unrecognized, right? Make sure you're recognizing them for the moments that they are getting you that much closer. And it also allows you to recognize yourself as well for the wonderful work that you're doing. So kudos for you on that. And, for me, when again, talking back to this whole process of moving houses and trying to get my house sold, when I started using this method, everything changed. Surprisingly, or maybe not, but I did actually manage to get everything done in 10 days and not just get the house done, did fantastic job at work. Oh, and by the way, managed to graduate summa cum laude in my master's program. And when I look back on it, even though it was crazy, even though there were so many things that were happening, allowing myself to do these 4 steps in my personal life, my scholastic life at the time, and my work life. Because again, so many things just really allowed for an amazing, wonderful transformation to occur. The move went smoothly, school went smoothly, work went smoothly, even though it was an atmosphere where a lot of hecticness could have occurred. So I encourage you guys to utilize these steps in these moments and see similar results for yourself. So now it's your turn. Go out there, be great. Remember, do not allow these big goals to feel so overwhelming. Don't allow these big goals or these actions that you need to take to allow you to be stuck. Write it down, break it into micro goals, and start with one small step today. And if this encouraged you, if there's something that you took away, I would love for you to share this with a family, a friend, a coworker, someone who you think would be, who this message rather would be a great asset for. I hope that everybody has a fantastic day, and we will see you all next week.